What up guys, this is Monkey Figure Reviews, and today we are going to talk about some upcoming One Piece Ichiban Kuji series by Banpresto/Bandai Spirits. This time around we are sort of going back to those Ichiban Kuji series where you get 4 versions of a figure. I think the last time we really got this was the BWFC, the Banpresto World Figure Colosseum and Super Master Stars Piece collab, and before that just Super Master Stars Piece figures over the years. So we're getting the same style again, we're going back to the same format over here. It's going to be under a new series name also. It's called Dioramatic, as you can see on the poster in front of you. I believe Dioramatic had already debuted for some of the other animes, some of the other mangas, and now we are getting it for One Piece. And the full official name for this series featuring Zoro, it is called the Amusement Ichiban Kuji One Piece Dioramatic Roronoa Zoro. So as you can see, we are getting 4 versions: Price A, the brush; Price B, the anime; Price C, the brush tones; and Price D, the tones. And other key information is over here. You can see that the height of the figure is 15 cm. The price for the pre-order is 5,000 yen, and the release date is Christmas Eve, 24th of December 2022 this year. So right off the bat, I think you can just see this is Zoro in Onigashima in his new outfit. Not exactly new, it looks pretty much like the same as his post-time skip, just that the color is different. He gets his new sword, Emma, and the 4 different versions are over here. You can see the main differences. They are quite small, but over here I think you can really get a good idea of how much they differ to each other. We'll get close-ups later. And I think between the brush and the anime, I kind of think that the brush is sort of like darker in color. The anime is definitely much more brighter, and the contrast on the brush is also much more significant than the one on the right. And over here you can also see that the skull on the Onigashima actually gets a red color hue or orange color hue painted on it to give more colors, to give more life. If you ask me between these two, based on these pictures here, I would choose the brush. I think the colors are much more pronounced, and of course there are more colors that you see on the figure. The anime itself just looks much more like a simpler version of the brush. And over here, these two are like the grayscales of the figure. They look pretty much similar, just that I would say once again the brush tones. Here the contrast is much higher. There's much more significant contrast between the shades. And if you look at the skull here, it is painted black compared to the grey on the tones. So generally the tones is just much more lighter and much less contrast. That's the main differences I can see. Now let's take a closer look at the figures. We do not really have a lot of angles to look through. They didn't really upload that much in the official images, so we'll work with what we got. This picture here is Price A, the brush. And in terms of the pose, the sculpt, I think is just kind of like, crouching down. Maybe getting ready to use his 3 sword style attack. And generally I would say the style wise is not like those hyper-realism, but they have done the master sculpt well at least. And from this prototype I can tell that there's a seam line that is probably around here along the biceps. Same for the other arm, but it seems like they are able to hide the connection joints quite well, so that's a good thing. And like I said, generally the muscles, they all look great. Some veins popping out here and there, the scar on the body. And from this angle, I can't say I can complain much about the character likeness. There isn't much expression coming out of Zoro. I think it's just him biting on the sword handle, getting ready to fight. And the swords themselves looks to be decent. Some parts, of course, the metallic parts, they are painted with a much more shiny color. Golden paints, the silver paint on the sword blades. And this is of course our new sword Emma, which looks pretty good. His outfit is just generally in a very dark grey color. I don't believe it is like a pure black. And some parts, maybe towards the bottom here and maybe towards the knees, they did a bit of shadowing or shading. So here it's actually a bit lighter. And at the back, like I mentioned just now, the Onigashima skull is painted black at the top, and we have a bit of like an orange, almost like a fiery hue, throwing itself onto the skull. We know that there's fires going on Onigashima, so maybe they are trying to capture that effect. At the sides and maybe towards the back, I believe these are supposed to be like smoke clouds, maybe just to have some effects. And the base itself is just a random broken rock that Zoro is standing on. Not a lot of details on it. Another angle slightly more on his left side, so we can take a better angle look on his face. I think it still looks good. No issues with the face whatsoever. The scar, all those are well done. And over here on his left arm, the connection also seems quite decent. I think they tried their best. It's always not easy for, you know, naked upper bodies like this. They try to hide the seam lines along the muscles, and again some of the veins popping out. Yeah, and I'm not seeing a lot of shading and shadowing around, so maybe just very minimal playing of the coloring around the outfit, and maybe some on the smoke here, which looks kind of funny from this angle. Over here we have the Price B, the anime version, and main differences I can tell is just that the skin tone is brighter than previously. So to me it's a bit more unnatural. I think this version is definitely better. It's much closer to like a normal skin tone for Zoro, and here it is much brighter. The color on his outfit is also lighter. I think this is a lighter grey. The skull at the back doesn't have those special coloring, and it is also of a lighter grey compared to the previous one, which is more like black and dark orange. And rest of it, I can't really tell if there are any other changes like the smoke with the rocks. But in general, I think you can just assume for this version the colors are less vibrant. Here we have Price C, the brush tones version. And here we have Price D, the tones version. So I'm not going to talk too much about these two guys because basically the sculpt is the same. It's just the coloring, the differences you can see. Between these two, I will personally go for Price C. I think I like the color contrast on the grayscale much better here. And of course the skull is black in color, which is pretty cool. Here it's just, you know, it's a bit more boring compared to the Price C. The next series under the same format, this is the Amusement Ichiban Kuji One Piece Dioramatic Yamato. Again, we have 4 versions: the Price A, the brush; Price B, the anime; Price C, the brush tones; and Price D, the tones. For Yamato, we do not have the promotional poster out yet, so this is the best photo I can find to allow us to have a good comparison across the 4 versions. And other key information like the height, it is actually 19 cm, the price is also 5,000 yen, and the release date is in January 2023 next year. We will start off with labeling the versions first, and I hope that I'm getting them correct because the information out there is not exactly very clear. I'm following certain websites, and if those websites get it wrong, most likely I'm wrong too. But the top left corner here, this is supposed to be the brush version, and top right corner, this is the anime version. Bottom left, this is the brush tones, and bottom right, this is supposed to be the tones. You can see that the style is a bit different from Zoro. Like you would think that some of them should be named differently, should be named more appropriately. So like I mentioned, I could be getting this wrong. If I am wrong, if I found out that they are wrong, I'll leave the updated information in the comments below, so you guys will be kept up to date. Now, if we take a look at the top 2 figures here, I think that the anime version, once again, it is brighter. For the one on the left, the brush version, it is much more darker, much more contrast with the colors. So we see more shadowing, like for example over here on her skirt, more shadowing on certain areas. But for some reason between these two, I kind of like the anime version much more. I think the vibrant color style really helps to capture the design of Yamato's outfit and her personality, you know, just sort of like being a very happy, also like a very kind of like a nonsense, cheerful character. For me personally, I sort of prefer this in terms of the colors. And for the bottom 2, this is the brush tones and this is the tones. Interestingly, for the brush tones, the attack effect from Yamato, it is still colored. I'm not sure why. Whereas for the tones, it's just completely grayscaled. Obviously the effects just much more like a very, very dark grey, almost blackish color. To me, the version over here is kind of like half-assed. Like you want to go grayscale, but you don't want to do it for the effects, which is weird to me. So I would definitely much prefer the Price D if I were to choose between these two. I think this is definitely much more suitable for the style that they are going for. Now we'll focus on the figure itself, and I'll try to zoom in a bit, but the picture quality is not too good. Hopefully it is still alright for you guys on the video. And once again, we have sort of like some rocks, some rock debris as the base, supporting the figure, which is Yamato over here. And she's sort of like swinging her weapon in this direction, hence we have all these effects coming out, this swirling effects, and like a little sort of like a hit or explosion coming out from the front. Some violet lightning streaks coming out as well to show the devastation of her attack. I do kind of find the effects a bit weird because based on this pose, she has not swung her weapon, but the effects are already generated, so this kind of like, you know, not in sync to me. Maybe I'm not seeing it right. But I would say overall, the effects, the details, they look to be decent. I think they actually look quite good. And for the face, for Yamato, like the heat sculpt, the likeness, no complaints at all. Once again, similar to Zoro, I think this is very good. And very fitting for her pose, unlike the Ichiban Kuji that I reviewed a couple of videos back, with Yamato smiling and swinging, which is weird. And some of the colors on the horns, you can see a bit here. Red transitioning to orange, the hairpins, the different colors of the hair, white, teal, to sort of like light blue, sky blue. And here you can see a bit of a chest. The details, not too clear, but some side boobs. Because it's Yamato, what's Yamato without side boobs? And the design on the outfits look great as well, looks pretty decent. Some shading in shadowed areas, like over here of the skirts. And the individual creases, those are well sculpted on as well. And for the sandals, just the typical ones, not too much details here based on these pictures. Next one here, Price B, the anime version. And generally the colors are just brighter, less shadowing, less shading in certain areas. I think if you look at them side by side, you can see that the differences are quite clear. The color of the rocks are also different as well. This has a bit of a bluish or purplish tint on it, whereas the anime version is just grey in color. And yeah, I kind of like this vibrant color version more, and probably this is the one that I will personally get. Price C here, the brush tones, and Price D here, the tones. I will leave it up to you guys to see them for yourself. And I probably just want to mention for this version, the tones, I kind of like how the different shades contrast with one another. I think it is really well done in this style. I kind of really dig it. If I have the extra money, probably I will get it too. And yeah, that's all I have for this video. Just want to introduce this to Ichiban Kuji series, the Dioramatic Zoro and Dioramatic Yamato. For me personally, for Zoro, I am going for Price A, the brush version. And for Yamato, I am going for the Price B, the anime version. Alright, let me know what you guys think of the figures, which versions you are going to get. You might be getting them all, you might be getting maybe a one color version, one grayscale version. Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed my video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share them with your friends. If you're new here and you like what I'm doing, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notifications button below so you don't miss out on new videos like this. Thank you guys so much for spending your time with me. I will see you very soon. Goodbye.